I am Deanna Hoskins, a formerly incarcerated individual and a benefactor of Dress for Success resources and services. My mother worked at Christ Hospital, so I always thought I would end up in a medical field in some aspect or another. But right around 1998, I have been actively engaged in using drugs. Started out as recreational, smoking weed, drinking, thinking it was the cool thing to do. And I ultimately started using crack cocaine. Original sentence was 5 years community supervision. And I remember the day of sentencing, I was literally under the influence of cocaine and alcohol and had not slept in days and showed up in court. And I immediately tried to figure out, how do I face the judge?
Deanna was in pretty deep trouble. She seemed angry at first, but I saw in Deanna a person that wanted to help herself. I could have sent her to prison, which I didn't do. I sent her to local jail and to a drug rehab center. She was told, you have to get involved in something constructive, and she did that. Dress for Success.
Once I got to the reentry phase, meaning I was starting to look for jobs out in the community, but I didn't have clothes. So the reentry coordinator at the time had connected with Dress for Success. She brought a couple of us to Dress for Success to get suited for job interviews. And then once you got the job interview, you can come back and get a couple of more outfits.
Deanna was our first client, and I had the opportunity to dress her.
Carol was one of the first persons that made me feel valuable. They made a big deal about try this on.
And I didn't know how she viewed us, being really caring of her.
They provided the resources, the clothing that I needed to look for a job, but they always encouraged me to stay connected and come back.
You smell so good. I know, right? Please welcome Joi Gordon, CEO of Dress for Success, and Lizanne Kindler, CEO of Talbots. Here to lead the conversation, Atlantic Deputy Editor Gillian White.
Good morning. So that was obviously a pretty powerful video. Joi, I'm wondering what made you want to get involved in Dress for Success, and what do you think the women who you work with at Dress for Success, the customers who come in, what are they looking for, and what can Dress for Success do for them?
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you for having us. 21 years ago, when Dress for Success was founded in New York City, I happened to, as a lawyer at the time, I was a prosecutor in the Bronx, I saw the founder of Dress for Success on the news, and she was talking about she had just created this organization that gave suits to women who needed them. And as a lawyer, I knew how I felt every day when I put on a suit to go to court. And so my intent at that time was really to donate one suit to Dress for Success. And I went from donating one suit and a conversation with the founder to joining the board. And then within a year, I left what I was doing to work in the basement of a church on West 4th Street to run the local Dress for Success. You fast forward that. Now we have 158 offices in 28 countries around the world, and we've moved the needle from being an organization that simply gives women suits for interviews to really giving women the tools they need to succeed in work and in life. And I know how important the clothes mean to her. I know what it looks like when she looks in the mirror for the very first time and sees someone that she's fought to become. And that's what clothing does. Clothing matters. And so this today is really very special to me because I'm sitting next to our biggest champion, our biggest fan, our hugest supporter at Dress for Success to really talk about when power and purpose connect. And that's what this has been for me.
Yeah, and I want to get into that right now. What are the things that both of you saw that caused you to want to partner together, caused the organizations to want to partner together? What are kind of some of the shared values between Dress for Success and Talbots? Lizanne, you want to start?
So thank you for having me today. Always a pleasure to be with Joi. So when I joined Talbots 7 years ago, I did a lot of research on the brand and the customer and realized that Talbots had always been a brand that was rooted in community and relationships with their customers. And Talbots was always a brand where our associates gave back in the communities that they were in. And I wanted to find a way to take that to a national level and really mobilize the organization. And the shared values are truly around how we also think about our customers when they step into a Talbot's environment, how we create the opportunity for them to really feel confident about how they put themselves together. And it's much more than obviously just putting themselves together in a confident way, but really having a deep and meaningful relationship. So when I met Joi and we started talking, I realized that we think about our clients, our customers, the exact same way. And that became our shared platform.
The other really interesting thing that Lizanne didn't realize when we met some 6 years ago was that when we were in the basement of a church on West 4th Street, the one thing that came to Dress for Success, and it was consistent and it was every month, was a box of suits from Talbots. And we didn't know who was that fairy godmother at Talbots that would package plus size clothing, brand new. And we would receive this box. And so it was like Christmas in January, Christmas in February, Christmas in March. And for the women who would get a brand new suit that fit, that was perfect, that was hers, it made her feel special. So when Talbots came a-knocking to Dress for Success, I knew that they were always a corporation with purpose. And I knew that if we could untap their client to be as passionate about our organization as the brand Talbots was, then we would have this, literally this sea of supporters and donors and friends and potential board members and champions on a local level across the United States and Canada. And that I could have never, ever have imagined where we would be today with Talbots, realizing that just 6 years ago, this was a concept, and we've come a long way. They're our largest corporate supporter, whether foundation, individual, or company. It's Talbots now.
Lizanne, I want to talk about why you decided to come knocking on that door. A lot of corporations, when they want to do something, when they see alignment with a particular cause, they just create their own foundation, or they just kind of build their own thing from the ground up, or they send a check at best. But why did you decide to go kind of whole hog into partnership with an existing nonprofit?
So I really believe in going to where the expertise is, and I knew that we wanted to do something good, but I didn't know how to. So I had to seek out an organization that actually knew what they were doing, so that we could lend our support in a way that was truly meaningful, as opposed to figuring out the logistics of what it was that needed to be done. So that has worked out tremendously. I mean, our associates and our customers could not be more supportive. And of course, in collaboration with Joi and her team and the whole Dress for Success organization, coming together with each our expertise of what we can bring has just multiplied the effect. So it's been tremendous.
Yeah. I want to let our audience know we will be coming to you in just about 5 minutes for questions. So if you can start pulling out your phones now, getting onto Slido, and typing those in so we can get to as many as possible. So Joi, one, can you talk about kind of the extent of this partnership? You said it went from, there was a point where you guys were getting a box a month from Talbots. What is the extent of the partnership now?
So today, well, let me back up a bit. 6 years ago, the point of entry for Dress for Success and Talbots was to engage the customer. We really wanted to test whether or not the Talbots customer would be committed to Dress for Success as not only Talbot's cause, but her cause. So it was really a roundup at the register at that time. It was asking her when she was at the register, after the sales team would talk to her about Dress for Success, would she be committed to making a gift to Dress for Success at the register? Well, the shock of that was not only was she willing, but she was extremely generous. There were women who were at the register paying for their goods and separately writing $500 checks to Dress for Success. So we had our own aha moment that the Talbots customer is of a certain demographic that she is capable of giving, and she's willing to give to an organization that's about helping women in the workplace. You fast forward that this year at the register, that same woman who now knows the time of year that Dress for Success campaign is going on, she at the register this year in a more truncated amount of time gave from her own wallet $1.2 million to Dress for Success at the register, coupled with Talbots then took the campaign and brought in, and I'll let you speak to the other partners that we've added to the campaign.
Yeah, so about 5 years ago, we actually were approached by O Magazine and created a partnership with them as well, where we now design a capsule collection and donate from the net proceeds to Dress for Success. So that has just magnified the campaign and made it even bigger. But we also realized once we got past the first moment of testing out, how is this going to work, that we could ask our customers to bring in nearly new clothing to donate to Dress for Success. And we literally have customers that come in with rolling racks with dry cleaned clothing that we donate. So over the years, we've donated over 18,000 boxes of clothing. So the campaign has just, the partnership has evolved over the years and become deeper and deeper and more meaningful. And we do spend a lot of time educating our associates on what it is that Dress for Success does and why it's important and how we as women can support other women that are looking to get back into the workforce. Talbots is 92% female associates, so it's, again, incredibly meaningful for our associates as it is for our customers to understand that we're supporting women getting back into the workforce.
Yeah. So a skeptical person would say that the reason that Talbots maybe is partnering with Dress for Success or another nonprofit is because they get kind of that brand sheen off of doing something good. You say the name Dress for Success, it automatically conjures this idea of doing good, being good, helping people. So I wonder how you would respond to those skeptics who are saying the thing at the heart of this is the bounce that you get for the brand.
Yeah. Well, so we are very aggressive in our communication with our associates and with our customers, but we don't do big national advertising on Dress for Success. O Magazine has brought in a different layer in the partnership where they also are out there supporting the organization, but we're completely centered around Dress for Success, and this isn't a moment where Talbots is pulling in money to do this. We're doing it because it's the right thing to do for us, for Dress for Success, for our associates, and for our customers. They care about women helping women. So it's really a very authentic partnership that we have. This isn't
Absolutely.
about, what can we make out of this? This is about how can we help?
Yeah.
And then
how can our
the
customers
kind of
help?
unintended ripple effect is that many of the associates, store managers, district managers have stepped into leadership positions at Dress for Success. They're board members, they're volunteers, they're deeply engaged. They're more passionate about the corporation they work for because it's a corporation with purpose. And so that's one of the unintended effects. Additionally, the donor, she's become a board member, a volunteer. She's found her purpose, her cause. And so the ripple effect to asking women to give, whatever they can give, has given us this enormous amount of reach that our organization didn't have before Talbots.
Yeah.
And so what this company has done is it's opened door after door after door for us. And quite frankly, because they do it so well, there's other companies and other brands that are modeling what Talbots is doing for Dress for Success so that they can do it and make a difference in front of their customers and have that experience for their associates as well.
So Joi just said that one of the things that's been really great about this partnership is that associates, other people within the organization have actually come and independently started working with Dress for Success. How do you, in a top-down way, talk about a partnership that gets people that committed to the cause outside of their 9-to-5 jobs?
So it's truly, for us, it's a trickle-down effect. So we talk about it all year, but we also solicit ambassadors within our organization, and those ambassadors are so passionate and work 24/7 to figure out how they can reach other associates and explain to them what it is that we do with Dress for Success and how they can get involved in Dress for Success. So it's truly, it's owned, I would say, all the way down through the organization. So this isn't an edict coming from the top saying, you must do this. Like, people are embracing it and taking it and sharing it with all of their other coworkers and customers.
Yeah. All right, let's take some audience questions. The first one is from Kate. As female CEOs, how important is partnering with and supporting other women-led organizations?
So I think I'm very passionate about that. And I think it is incredibly important because we are truly a women's organization. Our customers are women, our associates are women. So I couldn't be more pleased to partner with other organizations that are centered around supporting women and led by women. I think it's very important.
Yeah, Joi?
Well, absolutely. And I mean, we look for companies led by women to rally our cause and to champion our mission. It just makes perfect sense. And the beauty about Dress for Success is that now, 21 years later, many of the women who walked through our door, who came through some incredible circumstances. These are managers, directors, senior level vice presidents today who at some point in their life needed an organization like Dress for Success, but they're no longer in distress. So those same women are the women who are championing our mission and our cause in their corporations. And so it's just beautiful to see women who have been helped, who are now helping others achieve success.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Joi, how can other nonprofit brands brand themselves to attract such incredible partnerships like the one Dress for Success has with Talbots?
You know, I think what we were really smart at in the early days was building a brand, right? So it wasn't just important for us to do the work and to have a mission, but we were equally charged with building our own successful brand that would attract a Talbots to us. So the fact that we have, 158 plus offices in 28 countries around the world, that's attractive to corporations that are looking to align themselves with a social cause and to make an impact not only in their markets, but all around the world. And so we are as focused as the mission of Dress for Success in building a powerful brand. And that's where my work at Dress for Success over the last 20 years has been about building the brand of Dress for Success and ensuring that everywhere we have a footprint, we're making a difference in women's lives.
And the next question, I think, basically is just the inverse of that. How do for-profit organizations find nonprofits that align with their brand and mission? What are the ingredients of a successful partnership?
I would say that the most important aspect of it is the shared values and the authenticity of the relationship. You can't make it up. You can't ask customers and associates to buy into something that they don't believe in or that you don't believe in. So I think it starts with what are the shared values that we have, and do we truly have the same beliefs, and do we believe by working together that we can do better? And I think that's when it materializes in what I would define as a successful partnership.
But I want you to know, I want Talbots to win as much as I want Dress for Success to win. Because when Talbots wins, we win. And so when I see Lizanne, the first thing I ask her is, how is Talbots doing? Right? Because there's a lot of brands out there not doing so well. So I'm there not only shopping in Talbots, but I'm promoting Talbots because it is a brand that cares about women. Yeah. And so that's our relationship. It's a friendship, but it's really a partnership.
It truly is. And I would say that longevity, you have to go at it, and you have to come at it year after year. It's not a moment. It's not a one-time thing that we do. This is something that's ingrained in the organization and has been for 6 years. It takes time to build it up and really communicate it well and embrace it and do it well.
All right, let's take a final question from Johanna. For Talbots, how do you manage maintaining your financial commitment to Dress for Success and as the business and its change?
So I think that our commitment to Dress for Success transcends what's happening in our business. And, we're a retailer. You guys probably see in the news, there's lots of things going on in retail, ups and downs. But really for us, it's so much more than that. So we believe in this relationship, and it's going to be everlasting beyond, my work with Talbots. And as Joi said, it's been rooted since decades, actually, in the business. So I do believe that as an organization, you can transcend what happens every single day in your business. You make choices, you make decisions, and I believe that you can support organizations that do good.
Everyone, please join me in thanking Joi and Lizanne.
Thank you.